Good morning. This morning, I'd like to have a political discussion about the Ukraine war and specifically NATO involvement. NATO. What the hell are you thinking about? You are a treaty organization, 30 member countries, primarily European, who have a mutual defense agreement against a common enemy, namely Russia. Okay. This is Cold War leftovers that are quite old now. NATO. Seriously. The countries of NATO have enjoyed relative peace with Mother Russia for nearly 75 years. That's correct. And in recent decades, had begun to form trade with Russia. That's that pipeline. Now, the war in Ukraine. You got drawn into a conflict in a country that isn't even a member of NATO. And this happened because NATO is U.S. led. That's right. U.S. claims to be the leader of NATO. Now, let's consider that. That means they get to tell you what to do, such as U.S. promising so many $billions to the Ukraine, but they want NATO countries to put up their own billions of dollars in personnel and hardware. Um, Let me ask you this. Has Biden been a little slow in coming up with this money, the billions of dollars? How about hardware and personnel? Is he on the ball? Is he sending? Or is he being slow? NATO, now this is strictly my opinion, but I think Joe Biden wants to bankrupt the countries of NATO. It would make you vulnerable for U.S. imperialism in Europe. That's right. It is my personal belief that Joe Biden is trying to take over Europe. Do you want that, NATO? Now, you are a collection of small countries, and a mutual defense agreement is practical. However, why Russia? I had a term earlier this year, and the term was Russophobe. Russophobe. Are you that afraid of Russia? Why? There was peace. There was trade. NATO. Here's what you could do. Seriously. Uh, let's say you become unhappy with a certain country, a member of NATO, because they have bullied their way to the leader position, have drawn you into a conflict that you really don't belong in, and is trying to bankrupt your nation, each nation. Also, the U.S. has a very long history of breaking treaties. It certainly did with its own indigenous native population. 500 treaties were broken or violated, and the native peoples have to fight still today to get their rights under the treaties. Um, okay, so NATO is a treaty organization. Treaties can be broken. Okay. NATO could be primarily European without U.S. involvement. And that would mean you could decide for yourself what action that you wish to take for the good of Europe and your country. Now, this would be easy. You could either just simply kick out the U.S. of NATO. You could split it into two sections, the North American section and the European section. But countries of NATO, you need to wake up. You need to discuss this among yourselves. This may be my opinion. However, I've been right about a lot of things lately. So, also, I believe you could return to peace with Russia easily. The Ukraine is not a member of NATO. And it is my opinion that the basic driving factor of the Ukraine conflict is that Russia does not want U.S. military missiles pointed at them from their back doorstep, namely Ukraine. Understandable. So, yeah, there's a lot to talk about, a lot to consider. The well being of Europe. Really,